Good evening and welcome to the Backspace Gallery. My name is Tony Brewer, and along with Kyle Kloss and Joan Hawkins, we all co-produced this year's series, the Writers Guild Second Thursday Spoken Word Series. The November edition, here we are coming up on the end of the year. We are sponsored in part by the Indiana Arts Commission, the Bloomington Arts Commission, and the Bloomington Urban Enterprise Association. The Writers Guild of Bloomington wishes to acknowledge and honor the indigenous communities native to this region and recognize that Indiana University and the city of Bloomington is built on indigenous homelands and resources. We recognize the Miami, Delaware, Potawatomi, and Shawnee people as past, present, and future caretakers of this land. Before we get started tonight, I had just a couple of announcements I wanted to make you aware of. Third Sunday Write is our virtual space where you can find writing prompts in the company of other writers. It is a private Facebook page where you can respond to prompts posted monthly. You may then write and post anytime during the month and offer a response by sharing a line from their piece in the comments. For more information or to join, contact Shauna Ritter at shauna747@gmail.com. Please include Third Sunday in the subject line. We've got a very special event coming up this Saturday. We've been promoting it for months. It's finally here. A special event. Aminata Forna, who's a fantastic prose writer, fantastic novelist. She's giving a talk on the power of storytelling Saturday, November 15th at 7 o'clock at the Monroe County Public Library Auditorium. Aminata Forna is an award-winning author of several novels in the essay collection, The Window Seat, Notes from a Life in Motion. There will also be a book signing and reception at the Monroe County History Center next door after the talk. We've been talking about this for months. Molly's not here, but I would give her a huge round of applause for all the work she's done in promoting this thing and getting sponsors for it. We're thrilled that it's finally here. So come join us on Saturday. There will be no Last Sunday Poetry Series in November because it's so close to the Thanksgiving season. Just a couple other things. Our annual business meeting, potluck and open mic. We like to multitask here at the Writers Guild. It's coming up on Saturday, December 6th at 1 o'clock in the University Baptist Church over on 3rd Street. Now this is like a little celebration party. There's some business that happens because it is a business meeting, and it is an election. We will elect our new officers for next year. But please bring a dish to share and something for the open mic. It's usually a very good time. It's always a good time. Who am I kidding? It's always a good time. And then lastly, right here next month on Thursday, December 11th, right here at 6 o'clock here in Backspace Gallery, we're bringing it back. It's been some years since we've done it, but we're going to do The Junkies Christmas by William S. Burroughs, featuring music by our good friends Ortet. And so it's not going to be the full-on radio theater treatment that we've done in the past. It's going to be something a little different, a little special, with an extended open mic to follow. All this info is available on our website or by liking or following us on any of your favorite social media platforms, or by going to our website, writersguildbloomington.com. And that's enough out of me. I'm thrilled for our program tonight. We've got the Poetry Sisters from Indianapolis, Mary Sexson and LYLANNE Musselman. Thrilled to have you both here. And but starting us off is going to be our good friend and a good friend of the Writers Guild, Jason Fickle. He's been a feature for us numerous times. Glad to have him back. Guitarist and songwriter Jason Fickle creates music. I'm going to read this just so everyone knows who you are. Creates music that connects the heart and soul of the blues with country music's wry chronicles of loss and longing. Apprenticing with legendary bluesmen in Mississippi, cutting his songwriting teeth in the clubs of Chicago, he has forged a career as an engaging storyteller and skilled performer, and he is a frequent flyer of the Writers Guild Spoken Word Series. Please welcome Jason Fickle.
Took a car off my lawn, it's killing all the grass. Always hated that Chevrolet, and now it's come to pass. Beast won't roll, kick the tires, rough around, rattle them wires, because I want you to know I tried to love you for a long time. Take all your clothes, they're getting in the way. I always hated your dresses, but I was too polite to say. The rags ain't clean, take them on downtown. I know your pockets is lined with all that change I had lying around. I want you to know I tried to love you for a long time. Take all your cigarettes, everything smells like smoke. Every time I went to kiss you, I was about to choke. Your smokes are all gone, take that old ashtray, the one filled with butts you could never throw away. I want you to know I tried to love you for a long time. So I wrote that song. It's called "Get Your Car Off My Lawn," and it was recently come on in. It was recently adopted as the state song of Kentucky. No, I'm just kidding. I love Kentucky. But I sent it off when it came out. Back I was back in CD land and CDs, and then I was one day I was getting my car worked on, and I couldn't get it worked on my other place, so I took it to the dealership. And I just needed the headlight replaced, which when I was a kid was something you could knock out in a couple hours on an afternoon. That's long gone. That's long gone. So I drive the car to the dealership. I said, "Here's the car, replace the light." And they said, "No problem, Mr. Fickle. That'll be 6 hours. You're welcome to wait here." It was a Saturday morning. I thought, no way. I said, "I'd like your shuttle. I'd like to take a shuttle home and then a shuttle back." And I said, "I'm sorry, our shuttle doesn't work on Saturdays." So I thought to myself, what am I going to do? So I was so frustrated. I left the car there, sure, whatever, and I started walking. I was walking. It was one of those rainy days in Bloomington, and not the snow that we've had recently, but rainy. And all of a sudden, cars would go by me and splash mud on me. Using that movie. It was that movie. The mud splashing on me this way, mud splashing on me this way. I'm going around, and then suddenly, luckily I had my cell phone on me, thank goodness. Wow, I couldn't be separated from it for a minute. And the phone rings, and it's my wife. And she says, "Turn on the radio right now." I said, I can't. I am walking on the side of the road in the rain. And she said, "Your song is on Car Talk right now." I said, "I can't turn the radio on." And she said, "Why not?" And I said, "Because there's no shuttle or anything. The car is stuck at the dealership." So, now luckily, this was still the world of the internet. So a wonderful thing happened. Back then, the stations would stream the stations on their website. So I got home in time and found a radio station in Kansas City that was playing Car Talk and got to hear part of it. So it was a true success. I should have asked at the beginning, maybe, does anybody know what Car Talk was? Okay, yeah. I thought I had it. This song has nothing to do with that. This is called "The Bells of Avignon." I had no idea how to, spell or say Avignon, but luckily my graphic designer was from French Lick. You sit on Good Friday and bells of Avignon, take wings and fly away to Rome. You told me not to worry, but I know there ain't no hurry. Them bells are never coming home. They ring around the Colosseum, they peal through the Vatican Museum, they rumble through an old catacomb. Them bells are never coming home. And it must break your poor little heart to have no Easter in France. It's one of them things, if you let the bells have wings, well, I guess you was taking that chance. They ring around the Colosseum, they peal through the Vatican Museum, they rumble through an old catacomb. Them bells ain't never come home. They run through Piazza Popolo, they're looking for a Caravaggio. They knock back that lemon gelato. Them bells ain't never coming home. And it just breaks my poor trusting heart to know how you're never leaving France. It's one of them things, if you let a lover have wings, well, I guess I was taking that chance. I know you're never coming home. I know you're never coming home. I know you're never coming home. Like the bells that flew from Avignon. You'll never.
Jason Pickle, everybody. Round of applause for Jason Pickle, folks. Thanks so much. Well, you already got it before I got the mic. That's all right. It's good. Well, it's a rank amateur. What did I tell you? Me, not him. He's amazing. And we'll have a longer set from Jason a little later in the evening. So, thrilled to have our features here. They are going to do sort of a round robin amongst themselves. So I'm going to introduce both of them. Mary Sexson and LYLANNE Musselman. Mary Sexson is author of the award-winning book 103 in the Light, Selected Poems 1996 to 2000 from Restoration Press, and co-author of Company of Women, New and Selected Poems from Chatterhouse Press. She has recent work in Reflections on Little Eagle Creek, Anti-Heroin Chic, and Last Stanza Poetry Journal. Her latest book is Her Addiction, An Empty Place at the Table from Finishing Line Press. Joining her will be LYLANNE Musselman, an award-winning poet, playwright, and visual artist. Her work has appeared in Poetry Breakfast, the Tipton Poetry Journal, Indianapolis Review, and the Ekphrastic Review, among others, and many anthologies. She is the author of the full-length poetry collection It's Not Love, Unfortunately, from Chatterhouse Press, and her sixth chapbook is Staring Dementia in the Face from Finishing Line Press. Please welcome Mary Sexson and LYLANNE Musselman.
Can you hear me? Yes.
I'm Mary Sexson. I'm really glad to be here. It's always reassuring to go to a poetry reading and have a kind of a full house. It's always a little bit surprising and pretty wonderful. I've got some different sources of poetry that I'm going to read from tonight. And like Tony said, we'll kind of do a round robin. I'll read a few, then LYLANNE will read a few. And for each reading from our different publications, I also have a few things that are new that haven't been published. So I'm going to start out with poems from this book, Marriage Maps and Driven Destinies. It's a collaborative chapbook. I have a chapbook full of poems. She has a chapbook full of poems. And Charterhouse Press put them together and published it. So, this is called The Grammar of Love. I caught my second wind of my life sometime in my 40s, when our love became more than a common noun, and we found a path back to each other's way of thinking. There were days of weeping, certainly, that mixed with the remnants of our spite, and threatened us both with the notion of losing all over again. But we rose up each day through the murky waters of resolution, restless for the touch of each other and the sounds of our soothing voices. A resurrection of what was lost lay before us. And our love became the predicate, stated in the nominative case. Love is bitterness, love is redemptive, love is grace. Can you tell I was a reading and language arts teacher for 28 years? Who else would know what a language is? Anyway, okay. A lot of the poems that are in this are, for my part was called Married, the Grammar of Love. That's my chapbook section. And it's about my life with my husband. We were together for 49 years, and just it kind of chronicles some of those times. This is called Hot Date. You met me on the battery aisle at the Harbor Freight store, and we shopped for a good extension cord with a surge protector. We moseyed up to the wood splitters, where you toyed with the notion of buying one, a manual version for only $119. Such a deal, and how quick it would make firewood of the fallen ash tree in our neighbor's yard, the wood ours if we could split and haul it. I wanted gardening gloves and new pruning shears, and you fretted about the pair that cost $12.99, but realized they were on sale. So go ahead, and I did. We looked for tarps, flashlights, hoses, and scissors. Our 25% off coupon could only be used on the most expensive item, but we walked out to lunch feeling like we'd gotten a heck of a deal. And my last one for my first round is called Morning Blue. Your mornings are colored blue, filtered through a sieve of worry. Money, work, kids, your unhealthy heart. You can usually shake it off by 9. Wash it off with shaving lather, brush it out with the fine-tooth comb you use to put each hair in place. When you are ready to walk out the door and take on the day, you can feel outright hopeful for what may come. There are times, though, when the transformation has not happened yet. You are still saturated in it, awash in the ink of doubt and hopelessness. The sun will not lift it. It's too heavy a load, even for beauty to take on. You must bear it all day. Clutch it in your hands like an unclaimed suitcase whose owner has already boarded another plane. Thank you. Oh my gosh. My stuff.
Good evening. I'm LYLANNE Musselman, and I'm happy to be here. Mary's portion of this book is Marriage Maps, and mine is Driven Destinies, because you'll hear from my, it's not love, unfortunately, you'll hear some relationship poems. So anyway, I spend a lot of my time in the car, and so this one, and I started young. So unlicensed driver. My first memory of driving was around 15. I was waitressing at my uncle's restaurant. Mom, Dad, my aunt, and uncle had gone home early for an adult party later that evening. My two younger cousins assigned to stay with me were to be brought home by our designated driver, Bill, a policeman, already drinking, was ready for that party and eating. He continued to drink, but didn't want to drive. So he told me I had to. I was excited to drive 8 miles on real rural roads, but scared of him, hovering always at 6'6" and unusually gruff. This night, he resembled a jolly giant as he instructed me to get behind the wheel of his rusty red Jeep, laughing at how mad my parents would be. Livid they were, yet we all made it home safe, me yearning to drive again and again. And this one's titled Driven. At 16, I test drove a 57 Chevy, the car that flares in the back like wings. It was turquoise and white, but it didn't have power steering. It was hard for my young arms to turn. So my first car was a 1964 Buick Skylark convertible, white exterior and red vinyl seats and dashboard. My parents bought the car from 23-year-old Terry, a lascivious grease monkey who took me for a test drive in the country and a spin I wouldn't forget. That car and Terry shifted my life. One would leave me stranded on train tracks or in the middle of busy intersections. One would leave me directionless on a well-traveled road, empty, fueled with doubts. And the last one I'll read for this set is Cruising 1975. I'm not giving out how old I am right now. Person of a certain age. We drove the small town strip in Bill's Corvette from the car wash on the north side and around the A&W root beer stand next to the cornfield, back and forth on State Road 3, going nowhere. I sang Love Will Keep Us Together out loud, even though I knew it wasn't love. I felt safe with Bill, who wasn't like the small town policeman who violated my virginity when I was 15. Not the same one from the car. In the rearview mirror, reflections of a female friend in her small Vega with a bronze body made my heart skip. Oblivious of the implications, Bill and I revved our drive-by love, 8 years and 2 daughters away from a divorce, racing towards a lifetime linked by grandchildren and silent stares, 2 strangers who tried to drive their dreams home.
Well, I'm going to do a big jump. I'm going to read from my second full-length book called Her Addiction, An Empty Place at the Table. It's dedicated to my daughter. And anyway, okay. The first one is called Getting Sober. We have taken you to raise a second time, hoping this one sticks. We feel like our lives depend on it. You store your things in the spare room next to the narrow bed of your youth. We talk about house rules, ask to meet friends who pick you up for meetings. We set the alarm to a new code, take away your keys, and drive you to wherever else you need to go. Returning to the days before you got your license, you dependent and pissed off. Your dad and I whisper about whether this will work. Will you stay clean if we leave you alone and unwatched? The price we all pay for this level of intimacy is staggering. We know each other's dreams and fears, dark moments exposed like reality TV. Through it all, we can hear the moments tick by. The cost of your sobriety counted day by precious day, marking off the time when we're not so scared, when we can sit in our chairs and breathe. And since, You tend to do the joint deal with you and your husband, or you and your spouse, or you and your partner, when you're trying to deal with this, or live through this sort of thing. At least that's what we did. This one's called Your Father and I. With you tucked in now in the halfway house, there is really nothing left to do but sit back and wait to see if this cure will take. Your father and I chat quietly about how you seem each day. We weigh the tone of your voice with the pallor of your skin, whether or not you jiggle your leg as you sit and recount your time at a meeting. Did you mention how many days you had? Did it seem sincere? Can we go on vacation, the vacation we planned a year ago, before you decided you liked the way crack made you feel? This tired wagon, its wheels no longer sticking to the road, its driver off course, us and back, your truly captive audience. Okay. The next one's called, I haven't found it. I'm not good at finding this. It's called Second Baptism. Amidst all this, we were helping to raise our grandson also, which is kind of a neat trick if you can pull it off. Second baptism. We are over the crying, no longer bewildered by your state of affairs. We barely blink an eye now as we rise with your toddler each morning, bathe and dress him, pack his lunchbox for preschool. Our bodies remember the rhythm it took to raise children, the tiredness we could push ourselves to, and still be able to load the dishwasher and fold what was in the dryer. He seems none the worse for our old style of parenting, figuring out animal puzzles at the kitchen table while we cook, building with Legos on the dining room floor. There's a sort of cleansing in it all, that second baptism, not a fire, just a rising up each day, certain of what we must do. Thank you.
And this is from my full length, it's not love, unfortunately, and it goes from my childhood into relationships. So the first one I will read is Puzzle. In those days, my father sat at my little table with me and my stuffed animals, his knees up to his chin, sipping pretend tea and putting puzzle pieces together. I never thought those days would end. Now retired with 2 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren, he never sips pretend tea. Although he sits for their soccer games and birthday wishes, they puzzle his quiet ways and I pick up the pieces. I would like to say to him, why don't you open up? Tell me what it was like when your father was found run over by a train on his way home to a pregnant wife, 12 kids, and you just 13. What was it like to quit school at 16 to support your mom and 9 younger siblings? What was it like in Korea, a war that left you rice intolerant, Purple Heart scarred, and too foreign for words? And I decided to read this just because, well, you'll see. Some memories are better than others. A midnight Kenny Rogers cuts in. Lady, I'm not your knight in shining armor. 2009 fades into 1980, and I'm married to Still Bill, who says I don't stir spaghetti sauce right. He hurls pottery I made to the floor and accuses me of holding our baby daughter too much. She'll grow up to be a lesbian. He swears I won't leave him. No one else will love me. He killed my plans with women, friends I loved before him. My philandering fear chewed and swallowed what he dished. I sat at the table beside myself, digesting raw conversation. When aversion finally belched, Bill bellowed, "You're as spineless as boiled shrimp." In a saucy moment, I shot his malicious words down faster than Dick Cheney on a quail hunt and served him marriage leftover stew, a delicious recipe that slowly simmers and spurns. Relationships and Red Flags, a self-help poem. Don't second guess yourself. You've had so much experience in this area. You could charge good money for life lessons. You see the writing on the wall in other relationships. You see it in your own. You just give too many benefits of doubt. Don't doubt people aren't what they seem. When someone says they're going to do laundry, then come over afterward, and it's been 30 years, they probably stood you up. When you find yourself struggling with a spouse over a loaded gun, they probably aren't long-term marriage material. When someone doesn't like your sense of humor, your pats of affection, your being a teacher because of low income, your friends, your good nature, run.
Okay, I'm gonna drift back to Mary the Grammar of Love, my part of the book for Marriage Maps and Dream Destinies. This is called a new translation. Today they are bandying about terms like pleural effusion and pneumothorax. I punched in the letters on Google to find out exactly what they mean, what the insinuations were. I found myself crossing my fingers, hoping we could lie in bed together for another 48 years, laughing about how fast our grandson grew up, not crying because there isn't enough time. I want a new translation of this diagnosis, a revamping of innuendos. Take me from a literal rewrite, English to Latin, those boring medical terms made beautiful in another dialect. Give me the low staccato of the sultry Jamaican patois that speaks a different story altogether. Tell me he will recover in another language, maybe Italian, or the breathiness of French, soft and dreamy. This one's called In the Constellation of Cancer. I am floating untethered through the scope of your illness, an old star rising on the edge of your galaxy, passing its nebulas and dwarf stars, past constellations we knew the names of when we were young. Now I am an astronaut, and you a diminished star system, on the brink of losing your light. But I am fastened to your burning core, and we still hover within our own Milky Way, the one we have mapped and know our way through, here in the second quadrant of the northern hemisphere. I need this familiar place if I am to guide you through it, while you close your eyes against the pain, against the futility that seems to underscore it. If we are to cross this island universe that has held us throughout our time, I have to know which way is up. This is a weird one to choose, but I chose it. It's called Drugs in a Bedpan. What I am doing while you are dying looks a lot like scrambling to cover the rough edges, jostling to make sure it is all in place, the comfort, the meds, urinals, and bedpans. Funny how these things become the comfort things that let you let yourself down without worry. Let me feel like I am doing something, really, however stupidly it feels, to think drugs in a bedpan could ever make it right.
These are from my chapbook, Staring Dementia in the Face, and that's a painting of my mom that I did on the cover, and it's won some awards, and it was in the Hoosier Salon, so that's pretty cool. Today is the 5-year anniversary of my mom's death, and so it doesn't seem like it's been that long already. So I've never read this poem out in public. It's been published besides in here before. Silver Birch Press published it. And so I just thought it was a nice tribute to her for this day. How to lose your mom over and over. After her hard falls, more messy accidents, you give into the reality mom is too hard to handle at home. Since dementia has deteriorated her health, In these 2 years, you've been sole caregiver. Confined to her wheelchair, it's a mystery how she escaped the first nursing home you thought extremely secure. You're thankful she didn't become a statewide silver alert in that chilly October air. With Mom settled into a new facility, you make it through a first Christmas without her at family gatherings. Visit her 4 or 5 times a week. Adapt to others' well-meaning phrase, "You're so lucky. At least you still have your mom." Never expect a pandemic lockdown of nursing homes, or that her hugs from last March will have to hold you. Call her often. She doesn't understand why you're not visiting. She cries hearing your voice. You never know how to hang up. Summer, a reprieve of outdoor visits with masks 6 feet apart, no hugs, no touching. Hard for her to understand the need for distance. She accuses you of not caring whether she's dead or alive, then begs to drive. So much for happy visits. In autumn, her nursing home locks down again. You're thankful they have no COVID-19 cases, until they do, in late October. Then the call, your mom has a fever spike. Nurses assure you she's tested negative twice. In November, she's isolated in the COVID unit, afraid and alone. Her nurse calls several times. Your mom is yelling nonstop. We don't know how to calm her down. Upsetting since no visits are allowed. That Monday, go stand outside her window. She recognizes you, but she's a shell of herself. Her death glares you in the face. Hospice needs to be called. On Friday the 13th, honey, your mom is going to meet Jesus. It won't be long. These words are hard to hear anytime, but when you can't be there, it's cruel. You're isolated, lost. You hope she's in a better place. Know she hated the rest home, being forced to play bingo, being limited to that wheelchair, never knowing why her parents weren't visiting. So this one's last seen at the nursing home. Mom sees the dead. She's not a psychic. She doesn't believe in spirits. Instead, her mom, dad, aunts, uncles, ex-lovers, and my dad are alive inside her head. When I visit her, I pretend the stories she tells are true. I can't show her how startled I am when she says Uncle Dudley visited yesterday, or when she's mad because Dad has not. She cries when she sees me. She cries when I leave. When I ask her why she's crying, she says she's so happy to see me. I see her shrink inside clothes that swallow her once statuesque body. She says she can't believe I finally came to rescue her, to get her out of this awful place and into her world where she believes she still works at my uncle's restaurant. A world where she feels she can walk out on her own 2 feet, where she won't fall flat on her face, crack a few bones, one where she can drive her wheelchair down the road as if it's her cardinal red convertible, pull into some driveway declaring she's home, a world where I'd never worry that I'd see her picture come across my phone announcing her silver alert or worse. And then I know these are heavier, but it is what it is. And it was very cathartic to write these. And I probably have another chapbook coming through that we'll talk about when it was the pandemic and the COVID stuff, because there was stuff that, I kind of summed some of the stuff up, but there's a lot more to that. This one was one that I was just messing with, and so I read it with the hashtag in it, so we all do the hashtags and all that stuff, and this one's titled Hashtag Your Mom. Mom in dementia lockdown in the locked down nursing home. Hashtag has not kept her from keeping my phone blown up as nurses call to report hashtag your mom has fallen out of her wheelchair again. Hashtag another call. Hashtag your mom is taken up with a man and you should know. Hashtag her hand is on his leg. Hashtag the nurse laughs that says hashtag your mom has got a smile on her face. Hashtag days later another nurse reports Hashtag your mom got her nails done and that man picked out her nail collar. Hashtag pink. Hashtag I know mom's collar has always been fire engine red. Hashtag your mom and that man played some slapping game with their hands. Hashtag your mom has a big bruise on the back of her hand. Hashtag thought you should know. Hashtag days later a nurse calls. Hashtag your mom needs moved out of lockdown since she's not a flight risk in her wheelchair. Hashtag we caught that man trying to put hashtag your mom into bed and we cannot have them falling. Hashtag breaking bones. And the nurse says, hashtag your mom is a man magnet. Hashtag we laugh. Hashtag I know dementia has not diminished her. Hashtag flirting trait. Hashtag today the nursing home called again. Hashtag your mom fell asleep in her wheelchair. Hashtag she fell out of it onto the floor and has a laceration on her forehead, but no broken bones. Hashtag I wish she had a Prince Charming to hashtag catch her frail body.
I'm going to go back to read a few more out of her addiction. This is called Put Back the Stars. Nights I slept with my cell phone, made deals with God I did not think I believed in, bartered with the universe to spare you, hold you, mend you, put back the stars in you that had burned out and fallen from your sky. Now there is some chance that you are healing, mending the cracks in your psyche, holding on to your resolve and pulling yourself out of this deep hole you fell into. It is only a rumor, a whisper of maybes, but I want to hold on to it, grasp it tightly, and believe with every piece of my shattered self. Okay. This is called Back into the Fray. 100 days did not give you the clarity you sought, nor did it remove any obstacles from your path. It merely proved to be a short respite for all of us from the relentless grind of your addiction. We laid our heads down collectively and slept a dreamless sleep, waking to find you gone again, back into the fray of your life, your own war zone, the bombs falling all around you. Okay. This is called Recompense. You laid down the crack pipe and took up your life again, only looking back to count the reasons you had lived. Your boy beside you each day is enough, you said. So we all walk forward a few steps, holding our breath to see if this can last, or will some terrible pull breach the dike and drag you back into the wash. You say you have your own God, one the books don't talk about, one who is privy to your fears and secrets. But this God doesn't punish you or hold you down with guilt. And so I, in my faithlessness, call him to me, render my recompense, barter for my debt.
Alright, so I've got 4 poems that are not in any books yet. The last 2 that I'm going to read will be, and I will let you know what's happening there. The first one was recently published in a new online literary journal, LY, and this one's titled Payback. White clogs clip-clop their way through the waitressing days of my youth. I love those clogs with 2-inch wooden platform soles, Older patrons warned I'd be sorry someday wearing those shoes to work. But back in the 70s, I had no concept of me in my 60s, having to deal with bunions and other feet problems stemming from my trendy youth. And so this is the only path. You spend your youth working to get away from your small hometown, a comfortable place filled with fun memories of childhood, but not big and exciting enough to unharness your creative imagination. Years of bad relationships battering dreams, your blank canvases covet beautiful images. You realize words don't disguise disappointment, bouncing around from this Midwest state to that. Aging, you find yourself with elderly parents who are in need, but you still distance yourself from that small town. Then with your dad's death and your mom's dementia, you find yourself traveling an unsettling path of resistance. Again, your dreams held hostage in that dark alley traveled often in your youth, until you break free and find this was the only path to show you home. And so I've been working on a new manuscript, and it's titled In My Life. It's a poetry memoir. And so I think that I'm going to be lucky enough it'll be published next August. And this is Starving for Nostalgia. I enjoy counting constellations, a calming activity that takes me away from the atomic mist spinning around nightly on the news. Scandals abound that make me wince. I'm nostalgic for days when airbrush fashion was the rage. My youngest daughter sporting a freshly sprayed t-shirt with Freddie Mercury's face, $40 spent with no regret. Now that memory is a ghost in the universe as I fend off my reality, surrounded by others living extra literary who know nothing of Neruda and could care less that he's a poet they could love. And my last one is My Life as a Tapestry. As a teen, I owned the album Tapestry by Carole King, which I played often. I studied the album cover, Carol sitting beside a window in sweater and jeans, barefoot, her wavy hair flowing over her shoulders, her tabby cat sitting in front of her, both appearing to look back at me. As a cat lover, I found that groovy. When my boyfriend Randy said I looked like Carole King, I felt far out. Around that time, in Mrs. Johnson's English class, she put that same album on the turntable, and while songs played, we sophomores were to write what we felt. Listening to You've Got a Friend, I unlocked my yearning for a faithful friend, one I could share secrets with and not feel betrayed. It's Too Late felt relatable. At that age, I already knew heartache and pain. The title song, Tapestry, tapped into my teenage angst, life always unraveling. I wrote and wrote to those songs, even though English wasn't my favorite subject. In fact, I felt a failure at it. But that one freeing activity, that one class during spring of 1972, stitched an impression I would uncover years later that would weave a love of writing, embellishing my life, often a cat or two draped over my lap.
We have books on the back table if anybody's interested. Thank you for letting us have this opportunity to share our work with you.
Go around for interception. LYLANNE MUSSELMAN. We're now going to welcome back up our good friend Jason Finkel, who's going to play a short set for us.
Those, how about for that poetry once again, ladies and gentlemen? So good. A couple of those remind me of this song I wrote a while back. This is called I Know the Saints. I spent all last night talking on the telephone, just conversing with my dear mother. Then this morning you had the nerve to say why she's been dead for years. I'll indulge you 'cause I see you are trying. All that you know about the dead and the dying fit right inside your baby's food. I keep in the kitchen roll. Listen up, boy.
The paths that people take, bring them to
I know the dead.
that sometimes we need something else. But you see
Hear me out, boy.
hell they went through,
I know the same.
how they found themselves through that hell.
Next time they call to talk to me, I'll go about and tell you what they said. Cause I don't think you'd understand. You growed up to be
This anxious feeling,
man.
can't
even find a
I'm
baby
actually autism teacher.
the bottom of the
And
kitchen
for
door.
me, being a teacher, I'm actually saying, I get it. And a lot of people don't know this. It's like a hidden
Well,
talent, it's like X-ray vision.
You don't see. Is that right? And my dear mother, she's no more dead than you.
Actually, I'm going to be reading some pieces later. I'm actually reading the first anthology of poetry.
With your broken face
Doing like workshops and doing
and your
writing
faded
for
love.
20-something years. This is like my first time. I'm actually
Maybe you should
finished,
call us sometime, but
today.
I know you won't call it because you never call anybody anyway. I want to tell you about that number in case you feel like trying. It's written in a matchbook, it should be lying right underneath the baby's
So
foot.
I was actually there from the beginning to the end.
Leaving you in the kitchen.
Yeah. So I put a chapbook together, which is basically talking about the transition from like seeing it happen. I didn't know how I was living in China because of course I can't travel. That would be a problem. So when this is kind of shocking. Which one's your favorite? Probably for this one is like your path to the navigating the situation.
Alabama girl, you should really find an Alabama guy to marry, Miss Mary. Instead you got a man who can never understand you as his bride. He can't tell the tigers from the tigers. From this land of sweet magnolia, this is why your mama told you always stay at home. Don't go out alone, far and wide. Alabama girl, when you think you know it all, you went to school in the fall, now it's spring, back with the rain. Some kind of man we could never understand, doesn't know our way of life. Take you across the ocean, hear me doubt his sweet devotion. He across the ocean. Hear me doubt is sweet devotion. Keep it to yourself, talk to nobody else. Always stay at home, don't go out alone. Far and wide,
It's the best feeling in the world to sign a post and telling it. It's like crap to me.
Say it again.
Best thing in the world is to sign a book. I will
So,
sign
a lot of my demographic is getting off social media and then getting back on it. So I've started, with more than getting off, I started sending out these postcards, physical postcards in the mail. So, how many people tonight got one of these postcards? Wow, all right, the system is working, almost. So, if you'd like to be added to that list, the trick is you have to write down your mailing address. Every time I make this announcement. So I've been playing about once a month, a little bit more recently, once a month at the Friendly, thank you so much, Friendly Beast Cidery, but other places as well. So I usually send out a postcard a month. And I say mailing address because, and then what you do, here's how it works.
sharing.
We're gonna have a break coming up soon, and you're gonna. This is a handcrafted in Gunnison, Colorado. How about it? For my friend Kara, who
No, I
makes
think writing
these.
is right there.
Because the bottom of cowboy boots wear out much faster than the tops, so she repurposed these, and you can. So anyway, write your address, mailing address, and put it in this thing, and then I'll send it to the marketing department, and we'll mail it. Every time, almost every time I do this, people will write their email address and put it. That's a different system. I'm going to try to persuade the marketing people to do that eventually. But right now, you'll get a physical postcard. So please write your address. The trick I just realized is I don't have a pen up here, but we.
We'll provide one.
Oh, there. Thank you so much. Wow. How about it?
It's like, no, that's your problem.
One has
How
been
about for
provided.
Ian, ladies and gentlemen? Wow.
It's like-
Okay, so I'm going to put the postcards and the stuff on the table over there.
They know my people, so they know exactly. It's free to write, and that's why once I started writing, and I was just like, you're getting it out, and you have to get it out, and you have to get it in an organic way, which is
Won't
like a
find
force to
me
let you to express yourself, and just get that
Places
toxin
we
out of your body,
used to go.
your body is like that.
And you won't find
These
me
anthologies, writing these pieces, actually, it is
any
a way of actually healing the
place.
situation. And it's also a way for you to just.
But if you
I
know
have the advantage that my water feet
where loneliness goes,
and is doing something that's
I know you'll find me.
so that helped me. But that's how I survived.
'Cause loneliness, baby,
Okay, well, thank you.
knows where to look for me.
I'll let you contact you.
And heartbreak,
And
baby,
once I get the manuscript out, you can actually find a way to get it
sees things you
email
can't
it.
see.
And then one of them. Once I get the manuscript,
But if you learn
I'm able to find a way to get it.
follow them, I know you'll find me. Like you always do.
Without knowing.
Hey, you. We tell my pen.
Well, I know better now. run, but I can't hide. Loneliness isn't satisfied till it's got me. And you won't find me in that old side of town. And you won't find me in that old lost and found. But if you know the loneliness grows, I know you'll find me like you always do. I know you'll find me like you always do. I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to invite a special guest up. And then I think we'll take a brief intermission at that time. This one is called John 1:23. I had the taxi man drop me where the depot used to be. I had my table all marked up for John 1:23. My book was in my right hand, credentials on my vest. Elgin watch tick-tocks all up in my chest. No hand, no train, no sign. Sexson had been dusted, had the band clean, rolling my blackbird baby, all colored green. But I stared down at the switchyard, and I touched my wings a knot, and I asked that lazy drummer there what time he got. He said no hand, no train, no sign. No hand, no train, no sign. Well, one day you'll be lonesome just like me. You look for someone to help you, none will you see. When you can look down to the switchyard, you can stare into the sun, pray for a locomotive, but don't mean it come. No hand, no train, no sign. No hand, no train, no sign. No hand, no train, no sign. of the Lord. Make straight the way, make straight the way, make straight the way of the Lord. All right, help me welcome to the stage. Eric's coming up right now. He brought a trombone. No, it's a harmonica. This is my most recent song I've written, and these are the lyrics. Can you read those in the back? Almost, okay. Here we go. G as in Jesus. Yeah. I'm gonna buy me a radio. I'm gonna tell it, baby, just what to play. It's gonna be rock and roll, boogie woogie, spoken word, night and day. Well, I'm gonna get me a real smartphone. I'm gonna tell it just who to call. My mother, my sister, girlfriend and wife, and that is all. Give me a refrigerator, and I'm gonna tell it, baby, just how to cool. And if it don't cool right, I'm gonna send it back to Colorado School. I'm gonna get me a real fine car. I'm gonna teach it just how to drive on its own. So I drink too much, pick me up and carry me home. Television, one that can read my mind. I'm gonna take that remote and bury it in a place you'll never find.
Jason Fickler, everybody. Eric Richburger. The clutch player, Eric Richburger. We knew you had it in you. Thanks so much, Jason. Always fantastic having you here. So we're going to take a short break now. Feel free to have some snacks. refresh your drink. There are books for sale. Both the Poetry Sisters have books for sale back there in the corner. Come back for the open mic. If you wanted to read the open mic and you haven't signed up yet, the sign-up list will be over here. Please sign up for the open mic. And come right back in about 10 or 15 minutes. Thanks so much. Thanks for being here. Thanks again to Mary Sexson and LYLANNE MUSSELMAN, our poetry features this evening. And thanks again to Jason Fickle, our musical guest, also for being here. Always great to have you back, Jason. With the open mic, the work is, I'm going to introduce you. So we're going to work our way down the list. Looks like there are 12 open micers this evening. So first up, Darcy Fisher. Well, you need a moment. I will fill for a moment. You get yourself together. Let's see. I guess another reminder, next month we'll be back here Thursday, December 11th. And we're going to do, we haven't done it in a while, we're going to do a version of Junkies Christmas that we haven't attempted for a while. Normally we've done sort of like a radio theater version of it. We're going to do like a spoken word with musical accompaniment and sound effects sort of version of it. And we'll see how that goes with Ortet, our local friends. Ortet providing music and sound. I guess I could talk slower. How many things? With just a couple of poems. One or two. Are you ready to go? Should I go to the next person and come back?
Has the second person go first?
Okay. Hiromi, are you prepared? Okay. So first up, Hiromi Yoshida.
All right, so this is the poem that I read every Thanksgiving. So I'll be reading that from my Green Roses Bloom for Icarus book. This is about a poem during a presidency that we had thought was bad. And we didn't know better yet at that time. It's called Thanksgiving 2003. Wade through panoramic multiplex, thickly cinematic and extra large wool underwear and slick outerwear. Treacherous sort of navigation. Disheveled mothers bulge sweatshirts in Victoria's Secret panty lines. Drip secrets from your steamy gravy pans and Martha Stewart buckets. Plastic ice cream spoons break off the 25% fat rate of DVD cameras. Sprint and oscillating test run around. Baby lives in untucked shirts over toddler tummies, sprawling family-sized fast food picnics in makeshift corners of your local mall. Little Jack Horner is horny tonight and homeless in our secure home. Rush and raid dwindling merchandise stock while equal opportunity skyrocket to Zenith, splurge, belch, and cardiac tourniquet. Constrict a tight elastic circulation of commodity prices reaching beyond lifeless livestock eyes, grazing Indiana, grassland, and blazing sunset horizon. Uprooted promises soaking up midnight dishwater. So let's stimulate the war economy with killer Walmart deals, while the president grins in the mess halls of Baghdad, festooned with orange crepe streamers and papier-mâché turkeys and rousing rustabout cheers for the vain glory of the United States of America. All hail to the President of America who flew in a clandestine, iconoclastic, rabble-rousing, ball-busting mission into the desiccated and desecrated desert areas of the occupied. All hail to the president's men who dispatched the Jew with circumspect precision like a precariously gift-wrapped Playboy buddy, jumping out of a dynamo dream cake with rapid stun gun loin fire. All hail to the armed forces of America who ignited a long and messy camel trot toward iron-hammered emancipation of falling Viagra-powered suicidal limbs, firing a vasectomy of blanks into a gallstone hailstorm, prefabricating applause and ironing out Fabergé mirage curtains.
We're good? Okay. Next up, Darcy Fisher.
All right, Dawn, how you doing? Doing good? Nice. Well, I'm reading a couple pieces from an anthology that me and Hiromi are working on publishing through Buddha Press, and hopefully getting this baby in the world before Christmas. So, first one I'm gonna read because it was my son's birthday tomorrow. He's gonna be 13, so I'm gonna read a piece called Birthdays. This day waits every year for us to remind us we're alive and meant to live, survive in the battles of nature, giving presence to wisdom to say, fuck you. I'm alive and survived. The challenge to exterminate me has failed. Wishes are made, cake is eaten, celebrating the day of creation, breathing in the present, lighting wishes for the future, extinguishing burning regrets, celebrating life that continues in spite of challenges. And to complement that piece, I'm reading a piece called Shit Sandwich. And this one speaks for itself. I am sorry, but I cannot make a shit sandwich smell good. But I can make it taste delicious, making the truth easier to swallow, helping you hold on to reality with two hands, nourishing curious hunger so you can consume the truth. Starting with a slice of lightly toasted sourdough comfort, layered in a selection of hand-picked pickled compliments, protecting a patty of organic minced truth, seasoned with a pinch of salt and a dash of vinegar, delicately laid on a soft blanket of pasteurized reality, resting on a slice of sourdough comfort, cut into bite-sized triangles, making it easier for digestion, served with a smile and a warm beverage, keeping your feelings down. The last one I'm going to read is one of my favorites from the anthology. Actually, I changed the title to Sunday's Newspaper, and it's about the mind and the process of quarantine and isolation and how that's processed during quarantine, because I had a lot of experience in that, China, when I was living there. It must be hell in your mind, battling left and right, trapped in a war zone of thought, shooting blanks in open air, fighting to be heard and appreciated by someone other than you. It must be a challenge, conversing with demons, whispering corrupting messages in soft ear, staining judgment, wearing patience thin, holding and hiding in mothballs like dirty garments hung on the line, waiting to be worn again, where the scene is right and shining in dim candlelight, your thoughts are trapped alone. You sit and drink coffee on Monday morning, reading Sunday's paper in wrinkled pajamas, skimming headlines with crusty eyes, fidgeting hands running through disheveled hair, cursing printed words with pungent morning breath, rattling like rustling leaves at the beginning of spring in front of a computer screen, preparing for the Zoom meeting to check your report and your health status, ensuring you're not a case of COVID-19, wearing the letter C on a surgical mask, tracked and hunted by fear and infection, hidden from the world to protect humanity. Thank you.
Next up, Robin Goins.
I'm from Indianapolis, and piece coming out in Tipton Poetry Journal, I think this month. But this isn't one of them. Let's see if I can do this on my phone. Okay. This is called Like the Dog, I Do Better at Home. Our old dog is blind. She makes her way around the house by smell and touch, everything in its usual place to aid her, while I serve as her seeing eye person on walks around the neighborhood. Much like the dog, I do better at home in familiar surroundings. No unexpected requests, unspoken expectations. Unwanted phone calls go straight to voicemail. When I was young, spontaneous outings had great appeal, but I now prefer the cozy comfort of my couch. Surprises these days usually mean bad news at my age. Let's see. Okay, this is second and last. I'm gonna give you guys a break. In the shelter of sycamores, there's an empty spot I'd like to fill. The hole in the front yard where an oak tree once stood. I think redbud tree or crepe myrtle. Blooms bright enough to push back the lingering gray of winter. My musing is interrupted by the memory of a recent sighting along a distant highway. A stand of slender river birches, white skins glowing in the morning sun as I drove home from vacation. The scene recalling a time when I wandered a creek in the shelter of sycamores, their bark like glimpses of moonlight between green leaves. When I waded a shallow stream with an easy innocence that only childhood can bestow, which is when I knew I'll plant a river birch to fill my empty spot.
Next up, Terry Sloan.
3 minutes and 11 seconds of your time and 4 poems. Guaranteed to blow your mind or double your money back. This is based on a phrase from John Vickers' Alaska Motorcycle Journal. It's called Rolling on the Rocky Road. Hey, buddy, can you help a brother out? Spare a little pocket-lint inspiration? Because it seems all my change is loose. Feeling stuck in my ways, mired in this rut, long in the tooth, unable to afford even the local last chance refuge for loose change and broken dreams. Might just as well wander on down this 2-lane blacktop, keeping my heart open, trying to make my mind up. So lead on, Mr. Tambourine Man. The dawn is dawning, and I'm searching for a scene where I'm never seen, caught standing in a spot I've seen before. Because it's nowhere that we're going to, and I hear its footsteps close a following. This one's called Welcome Everybody to the Multiverse. A Zen saint is just a Zen clown. A Zen koan is a little bell. Ring it once and listen forever and ever and ever and ever. Same song, second verse. A Zen clown is just a dead Buddha. A Zen cannon is just a big bell. Fire it once and boom, bong, bang. Sound born in lightning. My wife and her 2 sisters ran off to Las Vegas for 4 days and left me on my own. This is a kind of a Einstein general relativity poem. A separation in space. I sense the presence of your absence, a tenderness around a void which appeared suddenly near my heart. The distance to my center feels now far and forlorn. And I've been obsessed with this poem lately by Sophie Clark. I'll see if I can get through it because I usually can't get all the way through it. It's called Tender. I spend late morning weeping with the news. A black bear with burnt paws is euthanized along the latest wildfire's nearest edge. It was crawling on its forearms, seeking a place to rest. I Google more. Reports leak out. The bear had bedded down behind the house below a pine to lick its paws. In hours before its end, officials named it Tenderfoot. Though some reports report just tender, later I will teach a class where we'll discuss the length of lines in a poem. I'll say a sonnet is just a little song to hold a thing that otherwise cannot be held, a lonely thing, a death, a bear.
Thanks, Terry. Joan Hawkins.
So this is the second installment in a story I began reading a couple of months ago. So when my husband died, the year after my husband died, I started learning how to drive. And I was 59, which is a little late to begin that. And the driving school I signed up with assigned me to a teacher who had been an ex-CIA agent. And so that was where I left you, and that's where I'll pick up. And if you're interested in hearing this entire story, I will be reading for First Sunday Prose at the Juniper Art Gallery the first Sunday in December, which is December 7th, and I'll be reading alongside Wendy Teller. It's at 4 o'clock. Okay. Oddly enough, I found out about my driving teacher's intelligence background when I told him I was a writer. This was in the hospital parking garage, a place with tight curly-Q curves and many awkwardly parked cars, even on Sunday morning. People stepping out in front of you carrying flowers and gift baskets and not paying attention. Chad, the CIA agent, had taken me there to practice sharp turns and quick responses, and by way of conversation, he said he'd gone to a friend's book launch the previous night at an Italian restaurant neither of us liked. Terrible food, he agreed, but he had to go. The author was an old friend from his CIA days. We worked together, he told me. In Katha Pollitt's book, Learning to Drive, the narrator's main difficulty in learning to navigate a car is observation. She fails to notice things. It's her big problem in life, too. She didn't notice her mother's drinking or her lover's infidelities, and so now, of course, she doesn't notice the child stepping off the curb. It's a curious problem for a writer to have, and throughout much of the book she wrestles with just that, how to be a writer or drive a car when you have trouble with what is perhaps the most important job requirement, observation. It is, I think, something writers have in common with spies. The need to observe, to jot down detail, to notice things other people, regular people, might not. My driving problem is that I often notice things a little late and then overreact. Heavy on the brake and heavy on the gas, my big problem in life too. And when I drive, I have to force myself not to look at a passenger who is speaking. Keep your eyes on the road, Chet frequently reminded me. Watch where you're going, he told me now. Chet had entered intelligence through the back door, Army intelligence, his assignment in the military. After his discharge, he drifted into the work he already knew. Nobody really recruited him, at least he didn't remember any kind of pitch. And he was too young to really understand the difference between military intelligence, offensively protecting your battle buddies, and the work he'd be doing for the CIA. By the time he did understand the difference, it was too late, he told me. He had a family to support. It was a good job, but just that, a job. No grand ideological enterprise. At the CIA, he mainly worked with documents, classifying, declassifying, redacting information. His biggest assignment had come after the Berlin Wall fell. He worked with the German government, going through East German Stasi files and blacking out anything that might embarrass the US government or reveal an operative's identity. He had liked Germany, he told me. Berlin at that time was buzzing with energy, and he'd walk home from the bunker-like building where he worked, stopping for a beer and sausage before returning to his room. Sometimes he went to see an American movie or picked someone up and didn't go home at all. He didn't tell me which movies, or if he picked up men or women, and I didn't ask. In fact, I asked very little, and I wondered why he volunteered anything about his past. At that time, I dressed completely in black and wore a fuck cancer necklace with Skip's name inscribed. It didn't take intelligence training to size me up as someone who identified aesthetically and politically with the outer edge, the skirt of the road, the lefties who had FBI files. I wore my allegiance on my black leather jacket sleeve. But the stories poured out of him, as though he'd been waiting for just the right moment, just the right driving student to tell. Maybe it was his friend's book launch that had brought it all back over gummy pasta and lousy sauce and a little too much wine. Maybe he could only confess to someone from the other side. Hug the center line, he advised, something I had trouble doing in driving and in life. And perhaps he confided in me precisely because I could not remain in the middle.
James Dorr.
This is a fairly short piece. It's a prose poem about an American hero, an iconic American hero, who perhaps we can use back today. I speak, of course, of Superman. Called Hey There, Soups. Hey there, Soups. You know we've got things in common, both being Midwesterners, though I've never been sure myself where Metropolis is, surely not East Coast like Batman's Gotham, and transplanted here. I from closer to Gotham perhaps, and you, well, somewhat farther. Superman, neato, with powers really just part of your Krypton heritage, but what I really love was the time you wiped up the sidewalk with Captain Marvel, and not a single punch exchange, but through courts and lawsuits. That's the American way when all's said and done. Fists raised for show, but real bad guys ultimately arrested and jailed. Or else shot by police or by good guys with guns. But you know what they say, that bad guys with guns are just good guys who've been caught. That is, caught doing something bad. With guns, which they love. But your bulletproof long johns aren't just some fancy excuse, like Wonder Woman's bracelets. And if you want crooks to confess, you don't need to tie them up with a special lasso. Just the simple thread of a pasting sufficient. And when all's said and done, while not quite diplomatic, a steel scowl and threats are still nicer than gunplay.
Next up, Brian Price.
For a second month in a row, gone digital, so I have to remember my password. So as you people probably have noticed, I've been writing a lot about the girl in the hazmat suit. So this is number 57. It's sort of come to me like it's almost like writing a column. I just, she can say anything. They took us to the training center. The girl in the hazmat suit wouldn't take off her hazmat suit. You don't know where this place has been, she said. going to teach you skills, they said. Oh, we already have skills, I said. I see gray birds in fields where there are no fields. The birds are ghosts. The fields are ghosts. I see ghosts. It's a skill. I can tie knots that cannot be untied, the girl in the hazmat suit said. Well, that's more of a gift, I said. The air in the training room center was the air of caves and basement halls. The air smelled of parking garages and stairs that go down but don't come back up. They took us to the linoleum training room, straining lights, cardboard desks, leaning chairs with chipped wheels. I know a lot of people who would eat those desks. Some of them would even eat the chairs, except for the wheels. You don't know where these floors have been. The trainers announced that they would first administer a series of standardized entrepreneurial preference tests to allow us to focus on developing our essential personal life skills that have, in some instances, led to success. You might someday become administrative assistants, they encouraged. I want a job where you get to wear epaulets, the girl in the hazmat suit said. Me too, I said, because I wanted the girl in the hazmat suit to like me. I want to be in charge, she said. I want to be a superhero. With the right tools, you may become a problem solver and a decision maker, they said. I've already got the right tools, the girl said. And she slipped out a pair of needle-nose wire cutters from under her sleeve. She walked down the airless hall. She found a gray box hanging on the wall. She popped it open. She clipped all the wires one by one, and the lights flickered and went out. I've always done my best learning in the dark, she said. Thanks.
Next up, Eric Rinsberger.
So I'm going to read 3 short things that are seasonally appropriate, gathered from different years of my life, but all pretty much written in the same month. This one. Falling. A fine grace falling is in the leaves gone beyond hanging, and more pulled to earth in their dry bat-likeness than in any fullness of green. To the roots, the worm-graced soil, they flush and scatter the year's holdings. The wind calls to the living, waking us before dawn. Cold inner lights spark our eyes. We hold nothing in our hands. We open to nothing inside. Our fine gravity of loss, our center, our place of falling. This is called The Feeling of It. North begins hereabouts, its cold lips opening cautiously, its voice telling only what it is certain of. Its long hair catches in the trees. The distances further on and much colder stretch out a hand. Life, chores, great loneliness, soft eyes, hard foreheads, migration and settlement, frost, air, wonder, simple seasons. There is an apple, perfectly round, stars forming inside. No emptiness, only the feeling of it. And this last one. Standing still in November, all leaves fallen. Wind slips through without a racket. Far off or not so far off, a crow cries out for practice. Sticks and saplings confine the eye. Vision fails, but you can hear everything. even the jet, so distant it has vanished, leaving the sky to roar. Thank you.
Next up, Tony Matthew.
It seems a good month to read a war poem, and those of you who have heard the Home Front play will recognize some parts of this. Returned. My father home from the war, me on the steep narrow stairs that lead up to the small landing, and the large window that opens onto the flat roof over the kitchen. Stairs that go on up to the first floor, the second, the attic where I play. My father in the narrow hallway by the coat stand with a mirror, like the one in my grandmother's house, where she always stopped to check if her hat pin was firmly in, the soft black velvet hat set at the correct angle. I'm 6, 2 when he left. I know him from photographs. In the last one, he's wearing white baggy pants, full shirt, turban coming loose in the wind, and he squints into the sun, a dusty road, an ox cart behind him. My mother puts it away, only keeps out the formal photograph beside her bed. Always Anthony, scrawled across the bottom corner. I run down shouting, "Daddy!" and throw myself at him. Although, most likely, I would stay on the stairs, even sit down, suck my thumb, hold tight to my stuffed bear. My mother is not in this picture. The cream walls shine in the light from the landing window coming down the stairs. But what returns from the war is a battered brown paper parcel. A parcel from Burma, I cry, running to the kitchen to show my mother. But she snatches it away, sends me upstairs. Later I find it half opened on the coat stand, inside a camera green with mold. I reach to pull the paper back, but my mother calls out, her voice sharp as her mother's hat pin. "Haven't you left the school?" When I come back, it's gone. Before the parcel was a telegram, and later medals. Today I have letters, photographs, even a broken watch, a water-stained copy of Kim, and that imagined moment on the stairs. My father and me alone in an empty sunlit house, me about to leap into his arms. Daddy.
Thanks, Tanya. Next up, Lydia Smith.
Got a couple that I've never read or spoken in front of a microphone. So this one, I can't remember if I wrote it or not. You can travel 10,000 miles but still stay where you are. And none of them have titles. They are. So, okay. My brain sees the beauty, yet sometimes it quickly fades away. I do my best to stay in the light, but I seem to keep tripping on my own shadow. I call for help, yet voicemails and no calls back are all I get. I stand strong and get through my days with no drugs, no alcohol, no pharmaceuticals. I see my self-worth, but feel others don't see me. I have tried to do well, but I am put on a back burner. My brain sometimes bugs me and answers I want. When abused, I was hurt badly. I do not function as everyone else, and I am trying to figure it out on my own. I need someone to care, and that person must be me. At this point, I see that it is me who I must be dependent on. As much as I pray for support, I am the support I must lean on. A helping hand would be nice to help me get to a place that it feels more comfortable. Being on edge holds me back, makes me nervous and unable to focus. Are you wasting away in your skin? Are you missing the love of your kin? Drifting, floating, and fading away. It's all getting the best of me. Who do I turn to? What do I do? Can I really truly only depend on me? A friend indeed is what I need. Packing tape and bravery, a farm for the future. She disappears into the safety of the forest. Her words like whispers in the wind. Those that hear her call will answer in sweet replies of sowing seeds by the moon of the spring. Her face you will not see, her body you will not know. The love she showed you will not fade away, but she will. For she is the ever-changing wind, the wind that sings from the mountains of the west, across the Midwest plains and into the hills of the old. Hustle flow, let it go, let it grow. Hustle flow, move and go, watch yourself glow. Hustle flow, into my alignment I shall go. Hustle flow, painting my masterpiece as I go. Two more. Westward warrior flows across the plains with the wind, now let go. Appalachian birdsong high up on the hilltop. Early morning sunrise, slow clouds whisper to my eyes. Redwood shade me and tell me what I shall be. River flows over rocks, cleanse my body, cleanse my locks. Having a tough time staying balanced and staying sane. My mind races faster than I know what to do with sometimes, and then nothing, and there is only silence, and I seem to have forgotten all I knew before. I feel stuck, I feel lost, lonely, too many toys, no room to breathe, no room to think. Thank you. I've moved probably 8 times in the past 4 years, and I'm going through all my storage, so I've been finding old notebooks. So these were all written years ago, and I've just been finding little poems, so I put them in a pile the other day. So thanks for listening.
Next up, Cynthia B.
I love y'all. The long winter is coming. I see it in the devoured squash. A groundhog is storing for the cold months ahead. I read a blessing that winter is the female turning death into life again. Readying the coming together of deep minerals and bacteria and fungi as stores until the raising of sap through the xylem in spring. It's hard to remember. The trees and bushes and perennials are doing the same as the groundhog, digesting the life before the leaves fall to the ground, which has its own gorging digestion of detritus to feed those roots and worms and tiny worlds of particles, finally fat with blankets for the winter, talking with the now available life hidden from our view above ground, gorging on the microbial conversations that happen now that the wiring underground is full and sated. Before spring, when the travel of the stems and bark and buds waken again.
Thanks, Cynthia. And next up, Ian Uriel Gertley.
They play chess on a classical guitar. Checkmate is an E minor chord. A fallen maple. My hand brushes across the branch, fondling the leaves like fingertips of lost lovers. The tree leans over, crying. Later is broken up for fire. It still burns under a griddle as I pour maple syrup over pancakes and contemplate dying. This poem, Drink the Wine. She writes drunk poems in her underwear, then wears them the next day. Sweat and ink run down her thigh, staining her sock band black. The poems are happy, puking down her legs, existing on the cotton canvas, publicly intoxicated against her ass. No one else knows how much passion she has in her pants, written the night before over a bottle of wine, but today by 2 o'clock, the sweat has stopped, the ink is dried, and the poems are just hung over. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Next up, Mark Haggerty.
Even though I've been from the east to the west, the north and the south and back again, on the land and the sea and every little thing, there's nothing I like better than you. Even though I dined with the king of the fae, queen of the birds, and Miss Day, I like them all fine, but I couldn't stay. There's nothing I like better than you. Years come and go. My life is never ending. I thought you ought to know that if all that comes to pass is a quiet old age, like embers to ash, then I'll love you still, like the fire that blows through the well, like the fire that blows through the well. Even in the houses where the royals frown, from the bedlam cots to the bridge downtown, from old pig fire bitten feather and down, there's nothing I like better than you. And even though I filched all the words that I heard, balanced them carefully on the back of a bird, and flew them from a fiction to a farce I'm averred, there's nothing I like better than you. Years come and go. My life is never ending. I thought you ought to know that if all that comes to pass is a quiet old age, like embers to ash, then I'll love you still, like the fire that blows through the well. Like the fire that blows through the well. Well, all the pretty little Irish girls, all the pretty little fae, every one of them come has gone again, except for one of them stayed. There's a fountain, I'm told, at the edge of this road. There's a mountain, I know, at the end of the road. Years come and go. it's never ending. I thought you ought to know that if all that comes to pass is a quiet old age like embers to ash, then all love you still like the fire that blows through the well, like the fire that blows through the well.
Is anyone else interested in doing something for the open mic? If not, I want to bring our musical guest, Jason Fickle, back up for one last song, send us home. I want to thank our poets again, Mary Sexson and LYLANNE MUSSELMAN for coming down from Indianapolis. Thanks to all of our open micers, and thanks to Backspace for having us, and thanks to all of you for joining in on the open mic. And again, join us next month. It's going to be December already, very shortly. Join us on the 11th. We're going to do Junkies Christmas live and have an extended open mic. So please come back and join us. Thank you all for being here. It looks like he's getting himself, oh, that sounds good. One last time, Jason Fickle, thank you.
Hey, thank you so much to the Writers Guild for having me. I really appreciate it. Everyone knows that the traditional court music of Indonesia is called gamelan. Tell your gamelan boyfriend I have seen it around. Tell your gamelan boyfriend he's got real cool sound. With his jammies to every show, custom made in Borneo. I saw gamelan boyfriend with a little bit of gone for you. I said, gamelan boyfriend, she can never belong to you. But he talks all about Indonesia, as if that could ever please you. From a little bit of job I had, you never love a man like that. 'Cause I know you better, baby. I know you better, baby. I know you better, baby. Tell your gamelan boyfriend I like the way you wear his ring. Tell your gamelan boyfriend his affection don't mean a thing. But he don't like Howlin' Wolf, he don't like Guitar Slim. I know, pretty baby, never loved a man like him. Because I know you better, baby. I know you better, baby. I know you better, baby.
Jason Bigler, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. Good night.